Welcome, everybody. I want to first, before we begin, I just want to apologize if I'm not totally on my game tonight. I have not been getting a good night's sleep lately. I've been getting these weird phone calls. And it's like this, at first I thought maybe it was an ex-girlfriend. It was like these calls in the middle of the night, and it's this crazy sounding woman's voice, and she's pissed at me for things that happened a long time ago. And at first I thought like I was being drunk dialed, but she seems to be totally sober. This is her totally straight. And then just out of the blue, she introduced herself as Mrs. Clarence Thomas. She said, "This is Ginny Thomas. You've been getting these calls too. I can tell, there's the sound of recognition." So they've been keeping me up all night, and then last night it was the final straw because I got this call and there was silence on the other end of the line, and I figured, that's Clarence Thomas. I just want my life back. Are you guys ready for the Borowitz Report? That's what we're here for. Thank you. Tonight's show is called Midterm Madness. This is a panel discussion of the midterm elections with a diverse panel of Jews. Because I know that here at the 92nd Street Y, you are crying out to hear what's on the mind of Jews. You so rarely hear it. It's one of those underserved communities here. But for balance, we also have Alec Baldwin. We do, yes. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's panel looks like America. If you live in Scarsdale. Next to a movie star. Okay. So speaking of the 92nd Street Y, I was on the 92Y website, 92y.org, and I happened to see that immediately following tonight's show is a singles mixer, which I believe is a polite way of saying kosher orgy. Or as the kids call it, corgi. I think that's what they call it. So now it becomes clear to me the part I'm playing in tonight's evening. I am serving really as an aphrodisiac. I'm going to spend the next 90 minutes sexing you up by talking about the midterm elections, and then I will release you to the corgi. It's going to be an amazing thing. Now, let's talk just for a moment about the elections. Now, something happens every election year, and this is true. People will come up to me and they'll say, "Andy, have you ever considered running for office?" Well, I know they mean it in a nice way. I mean, they do. They mean it to be flattering. But what I always say to them is, you don't understand my role. I'm part of the problem. And I think I'm pretty good at that. I'm really good at tearing things down. I'm not interested in building things up. That sounds really hard. But then they'll say to me, "Well, you would be great at politics because you know so much about the news." And this is just a real misconception. I know very, very little about the news. I mean, I write a fake news column. So I am making up the news. But that really shouldn't be confused with knowledge. That's lying, okay? And I realized there's some overlap between lying and politics. I mean, I guess if you drew like the Venn diagram, that would look like a total eclipse, actually. But I still think to be in government, you should have some knowledge. I think that's important, and I have absolutely no knowledge of what's going on. I'll give you a good example. The other day, I was reading on Google News, and I saw this headline that said, the Democrats were in danger of losing control of Congress. And I was shocked. Because I did not know that the Democrats had control. I mean, they have kept this a secret for 2 solid years. And I'm trying to figure out why they would do that. I mean, if I had control of Congress, of one of the top 5 countries in the world, I would really broadcast. I'd be proud of that. I wouldn't be keeping it a secret. And then I realized, well, maybe what's going on is they've spent the last 2 years emotionally preparing us for losing control of Congress. That if we never knew they had control, then it wouldn't be such a bitter pill when they lose control. So later on in the day, I was talking to my wife about this, and I said, so I saw this article online that said the Democrats might lose control of Congress. And she said, well, what did the article say? And I said, I don't know, I didn't click on it. I brought up the topic of an article that I was too lazy to click on. So this is my point, is that I really know nothing. I mean, I go around acting like I'm a knowledgeable person and that I'm online all the time and I read the news, but I'm like a baboon or a Tea Party candidate. I know nothing. I know nothing about what's going on in the world. And I say this to people. I say the internet is not a good way to get news because we see headlines and we don't click on them and blah, blah, blah. And people say, well, why don't you watch the news on TV? And I'm like, I would love to. Where is it? Just tell me where it is. I have the remote. And I really, ladies and gentlemen, I have tried. I've watched CNN, and tonight we have Jeffrey Toobin with us, and I adore Jeffrey, and Jeffrey is great and fantastic. But CNN, one of the problems as a network is that they don't really have news. What they have is distractions. They have distractions from the news. Like they'll have like the Chilean miners or Tiger Woods. And I know it sounds unfair, like I'm lumping those 2 stories together. But really, those 2 stories are like mirror images of each other. Because the Chilean miners, 33 men, 1 hole. Now that took you a while because it involved math. And this brings me to Eliot Spitzer. Now, to me, CNN jumped the shark when they gave a show to Eliot Spitzer. Too soon. Too soon. Are you with me on that? Too soon. I was watching his show, and I'm telling you, I could not help thinking of the same thing over and over again, which is just, someone is paying for an hour with Eliot Spitzer. That is ironic. So I really can't watch CNN. And you know what? I've tried to be open-minded. I've tried to watch Fox, but I'm not really into sci-fi. And to me, they jumped the shark the same way CNN did, a really bad personnel decision, which is they put Sarah Palin on. And I mean, I think it's nice, they put her on the air and let her work on her English. And, she's kind of like an exchange student here. And it's like, hello, Sarah. Hello, America. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice having her there. But she's not, again, knowledge. She's not a news person. She has opinions, right? She's not news. Like, she'll say that she doesn't believe in evolution. That's an opinion. Although I've got to say, the more I think about it, I think like she kind of has a point. When you realize that Sarah Palin has evolved into Christine O'Donnell, that is not what Darwin had in mind. Now, Christine O'Donnell terrifies me. And I'm not going to do the whole witch thing. It's not the witch thing. I know she's not a witch. Being a witch involves way too much reading. But even if she was a witch, look, the fact is, she dabbled in witchcraft, but she's devoted her entire life to being an idiot. She's worked at that. And ignorance scares me so much more than necromancy. It really does. Like with a witch, you can throw a glass of water on a witch and they start melting. You throw a glass of water on Christine O'Donnell and she'll say, whoa, I'm wet. How'd that happen? What's that clear, wet liquid that you threw at me? I saw her at these Delaware debates. This is a sign of just how terrified I am. I have been reduced to watching Delaware senatorial debates. My life is not that empty that I am at that level where that would be something I would do. But I've watched her performance in these debates, and all I can say is the Chilean miners are more up to date on current events. Honestly, there was this whole thing about how she didn't know that the separation of church and state was in the Constitution. And in fairness to her, in the version of the Constitution that she read, Big Bird made no mention But here's what I don't understand about her. I just don't get it. This woman, I think, by most conservative estimates, attended 8 or 9 colleges. And to me, the main thing you learn in college is how to bullshit your way to answer a question that you don't know the answer to. You mean to tell me that at none of those 15 to 20 colleges she attended, she learned how to bullshit an answer? They asked her to name one Supreme Court decision that she disagreed with. You can't pull anything out of your ass? Ali v. Frazier, you can't? So yeah, her ignorance is terrifying. And I know we live in a democracy, but to the people who voted for her, shame on you. You voted for an ignorant person. And I'll tell you what really, really terrifies me about her. I would describe myself as a single issue voter. Some people will vote just according to, their belief in abortion or, gays in the military. I have one single issue, and that is masturbation rights. Are you with me on that? Yes. I believe that was guaranteed by the Constitution. Because, our forefathers were rugged individualists, and, You know what individualists do. But I am very, very sold on masturbation rights. To me, it's like gun rights. I'm like Charlton Heston from My Cold Dead Hand. So yeah, I don't watch Fox, and that pretty much leaves us with MSNBC. Do we have any MSNBC viewers out here? Yes. Well, folks, let's be honest for a second. I know you think it's great and it's intelligent and blah, blah, blah. MSNBC is Fox for vegans. It's the exact same format. It's blowhard, blowhard, blowhard. They just happen to be blowhards that you agree with. Because you like to tune in, and it's natural. You want to see people who agree with you. Maybe you're not getting that at home. I don't know. But it's the same format. Plus, and this is the last thing I'll say before I bring out our panelists, MSNBC has just instituted what may be the worst slogan in the history of television. Do you know what their new slogan is? Lean forward. That is also the official slogan of the rectal exam. I mean, what was their second choice? You might feel some pressure? I don't know. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.